Hi everybody. Can you believe we only have 4 studies left before we've completed our 40-40 series? But today is number 37 and we're going to be looking at the theme love one another. And to do that, we're going to open up 1 Corinthians 13 verses 4 to 8. As we begin today, well, let me ask you, what do you love? We use that word love in so many different ways in our culture. I love Steph, but I also love pizza. But I'm using the word love in different ways there. Otherwise, well, Steph would be pretty disappointed. We use the word love in so many different ways in the English language. We love our family, but we also love our pets, our friends, a nice frappuccino on a sunny day, or a box of McDonald's chicken nuggets when we're hungry and it's late at night. As we come to the Bible, we have to understand that the New Testament has a vocabulary for love that's much more specific than our English language. It uses different words for different kinds of love. And we see one of those words in our passage for today, and it's the word agape. The word agape denotes the sacrificial, self-given love of God for his people in Jesus. Agape expresses the highest form of love. It's self-denying and it's others-focused. And it isn't just a feeling, but it's something that you do. According to Jesus and Paul, it's a choice that we make to act a certain way, even if we don't feel like it. And the ultimate standard of authentic love is how we treat the person that we just cannot stand. Agape is enemy-embracing love, and it imitates the kind of love that God has for us. We read about that love in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 to 8. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. This is a really popular passage for a wedding, but Paul actually wrote this not to a couple in love, but to a body of believers who were having a lot of issues with each other. People were suing each other. One guy was sleeping with his mother-in-law, and their Sunday gatherings, well, they were an absolute mess. They were also tolerating and endorsing things like greed and idolatry. People using spiritual gifts in inappropriate ways. And it was into this context that Paul wrote this letter. You see, the early church brought together a great variety of people, both Jews and Gentiles, rich and poor, men and women, slaves and slave owners. Consequently, there was much conflict and disunity. But Paul wanted love to be a distinguishing mark of this Christian community. Without love, the church couldn't present a loving God to the world, and it risked falling apart. Today's passage, well, it shows us a standard of love that's set for us, and it should convict us of just how much we actually fall short of it, just like the Corinthians. See, none of us live with this kind of love, and there's an easy way to prove it. Start reading 1 Corinthians 13 from verse 4, and every time you see the word love, we'll take it out and instead insert your name. For example, Steve is patient and kind. Steve does not envy or boast. He's not arrogant or rude. He doesn't insist on his own way. He's not irritable or resentful. He doesn't rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Steve bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Steve never fails. So much of that isn't true, even at the best of times. When I think about it, well, I'm not very loving at all when I read 1 Corinthians 13 in view of my own life. And that's a problem because love should be the distinctive characteristic of our faith. It's so essential that the Bible says we're nothing without it. Our love for one another, well, it attracts people to the church, and therefore it can point people to Jesus. However, you probably know people who've walked away from church because they were fed up with Christians talking about love, but not actually loving one another. This hypocrisy, this lack of love, it repelled them from church and away from Jesus. Love matters.